if you look at the numbers, the revised estimates for 2021 and also the budget estimates for 21-22, the expenditures levels are more or less similar. So where are we cutting down then?
So actually, that is not quite true. I mean, we have already, over the last several months, dramatically ramped up expenditure. So if you look at capital expenditure spending in October, it's up 129% year on year. The November number is up 249%. The December number is up 62% year on year, and so on and so forth. So there's been already a very dramatic increase in spending. We are not only maintaining that, but ramping it up. And as we get some ramp up in growth, remember, we have to really compare this with the last normal year we have had. And that's from where the big increase is. There, presumably, there will not be the same level of, say, you don't have to, last year we created the world's largest food program for 800 million people. Presumably, we don't have to do it again. Similarly, as growth accelerates, the idea is that the spending on NREGA will go down because presumably we'll create more jobs and so on. So we have, it's justifiable that we have reduced the number for that, because that's ultimately a demand-driven thing. I mean, it's not like we control how much we spend on it. If more people turn up, we give them more jobs. If less people turn up, we do less. So it's like a safety net. But presumably, if we are right about the economy accelerating, then we will need less resources there as well. But that doesn't mean we are cutting back on overall resources. We will continue to pump resources into infrastructure. And very important point here, first of all, we have committed to spending in them over several years. So this is an important point you need to take into account. We are not just saying, oh, this is an immediate press the accelerator and let's get growing. No, we are spending on capital expenditure, which means infrastructure, which means that once you have gone down the path of spending, we are committing to spending it till those projects finish. And the Honorable Finance Minister has made it clear that it's really 3-4 years down the line where the system, the fiscal trajectory will go back to the old path. So we are committing consequently to a significant length of time where we'll be spending significantly more. So that's one point. The second point is that we have decided on a very peculiar way in which we are going to expand the demand, which is through this infrastructure spend, because our view is that we need to make sure that for the liabilities we build up as a result of this spending, after all, this is not free, we are building up debt for it, we leave behind assets on the other side. So unlike many people who preferred a somewhat more dole approach to doing this, we have gone for creating both hard and soft infrastructure, and we will spend on it.
Even if the expenditures this year and next year will be at the similar levels, it's this shift in the composition of expenditures towards capital expenditure, which is what has changed.
Yes, because after all, I'm presuming we will not have to do all the extraordinary spendings that we had to do in 2021.
Yeah, the other point is the real GDP growth was projected at 11%. Now, what gives you that confidence? Because the economy is still not free from shackles. I mean, the railways and all of that, it's not running at full stream. So I know what is the confidence you get that it will be 11%?
So, the budget actually talks about nominal GDP growth of 14%.
That including 4% of the inflation rate and all of that.
So the economic survey has talked about 11%. The IMF has talked about 11.5%. So the budget forecasts are, if anything, based on conservative numbers. Now, obviously, we will benefit to some extent in the first half of the year from the fact that there will be, presumably no lockdown. So you will see the numbers going up very substantially on a year-on-year basis, whether we like it or not. And then if we have some momentum coming in from the spending and other things, then you will get, I am quite confident that an 11% GDP growth rate in 21-22 is, if anything, conservative number.
The allocation made for COVID, the allocation, is this only for COVID vaccines or is it for all vaccines? And
so this allocation is specifically for COVID-related vaccination.
But that if it's only COVID related, then it works out to something around 250 rupees per person. And given the 2 doses, about 400 rupees per person today. So any reason why, this number was not more, or any reason why we kept to this?
No, look, I am not the expert on how this number was arrived at. This is for the health ministry to work it out. But I think it's a very significant amount of money. And as we ramp these up, the value, these things will also become cheaper. So it's not like, this is the price it will always be at. As we do more and more of it, the whole system becomes cheaper and cheaper.
What is the message from this budget that you're saying? We've had this whole of mini budgets last year, and now this was supposed to be one budget. Will we have more mini budgets coming in, given that some things, as requirement, more will come in or whatever? Or what is it, the main message from this budget?
The main message of this budget is that we are going for growth. Now, India in the last 1 year was criticized repeatedly for being very, calibrated in its response. I think that was the right thing to do because our economy was under lockdown. It made no sense pressing the accelerator when your foot was on the brake. And we said that at that time as well. And so we were under very, very uncertain circumstances. And we responded to that uncertainty with a Bayesian updating of information and responded to it as it evolved. This is very different from what some other countries did, and many international experts were telling us to do, is to blow up the budget on a single grand stimulus. We didn't do that. But now that the economy is open and the supply side is in a position to respond, we are now pressing the accelerator. So we are going for growth. This growth is not only good for creating jobs, but ironically, it's also good for fiscal, which is the point made in the economic survey, that there are circumstances where going for growth actually even is good from a fiscal consolidation perspective because of the feedback of revenues, feedback of the denominator going up, and so on.
And finally, a footnote. Do you think this 6.8% in next year, you think we'll be able to stick to the fiscal deficit figure, given that,
as I said, our fiscal forecasts are based on very conservative GDP growth rate numbers. The numbers used in the budget are actually 14%, which is below what the economic survey says. And I'm telling you, the economic survey itself is also conservative, which itself is, in fact, the IMF already has a forecast which is higher than ours.
Yeah. Thank you so very much for your time.